From the studios of the Richmond Register, it's this week's edition of the Richmond Register Sports Show. Every Thursday night at 9 o'clock, Richmond Register sports editor Nathan Hutchinson and Richmond Register sports writer Ricky Barker will talk about this week in Madison County sports. Welcome to the show.
The Richmond Register Sports Show is brought to you by Nuevo Vallarta, a neighborhood restaurant with indoor and patio seating, a family-friendly environment, and quality, authentic Mexican food at reasonable prices. Nuevo Vallarta.
All right, welcome to this week's edition of the Richmond Register Sports Show. I am Richmond Register sports editor Nathan Hutchinson, and with me, as always, is Richmond Register sports writer Ricky Barker. How's it going?
It's going well. I'm tired.
Well, it's been a lot of action, isn't it?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah, in particular, the last couple of days, the high school volleyball districts have been going on, so that was very exciting. Very historic moment there for the Madison Central Lady Eagles, but we'll get to that in a minute. But we're going to go through all that, and we have a nice recap of all that and some video of the girls and everything. But I just want to say hello to everybody. Welcome back to this edition. We appreciate you guys tuning in. This week we will have, as our special guest, Mark Centers, the Madison Central football head coach, and two of his seniors, William Jacobs and Ashton Hulberg, will both be here as well. We were hoping to also have the folks from Madison Southern. John Clark told us he had a little bit of laryngitis and couldn't talk, so hopefully we'll have him and some of his players on next week. But
Yes.
I hope you feel better, John. But like I said, the big news of the week was 44th District High School Volleyball was Monday and Tuesday over at Central, and for the first time in 13 years, Madison Southern wins the district title. They only ever won one other one in school history. That was in 2006. But they came into it as the heavy favorite. They had beaten Central twice during the regular season, and then Tuesday night it was a battle early though.
Oh gosh, yeah. Central came out and made them work for it. They went up 6-0 real early on them, and Jeremy had to go and burn 2 timeouts pretty quickly to kind of get his team up and going. He's like, hey, this is for the championship. And they responded. They came clawing back in that first set and then eventually took it and then just rolled right on through. But Central put up a really good fight on them.
Yeah, it was Southern was down 17-7 in the first set. Like you said, came roaring back and then they're going on to win it straight sets 3-0. So, yeah, they only won, they said that one title in 2006, and those kids knew it too.
Oh, they kept track.
And most of those kids were like, that was 13 years ago. They were like 4, 5, 6 years old when that happened, but they saw that banner up in the gym every day with that 2006.
Well, and there had been a discussion on that team of the former players trying to reach that milestone and putting in all that work, and a lot of the seniors this year watched those older girls kind of lay the foundation for it, and they finally got it. So they improved to 27-4 on the season, and both Central and Southern will move on to the 11th region tournament next week. Southern will probably host a first-round game on Monday night. I'm not sure, they haven't finalized that yet, but a lot of the 11th region stuff now is the first-round games are being hosted by the district winners. So they will probably host a game Monday night down in Berea. But you had a chance to talk to those seniors afterwards, and so they were very happy, obviously, and like I said, it's been a long time coming, and so you got a little video interview with those ladies, so we'd like to show that to you now.
This was a great win for us because this was a goal that we set at the beginning of the year. When you set goals at the beginning of the year, accomplishing them in the end is like what it's all about.
And every day since then, we have pushed and fight and everything. And during practice, we will not give up. We will try so hard. Sometimes we will, but we'll turn around and get focused in the next game.
You guys had to claw back from a 17-7 deficit in the first set. Central came out, raced out to an early lead. What was going through your minds?
I was scared because Central, if you lose one set to them, they usually get the momentum and they just score and they don't stop scoring.
They fought hard that first set. They did so good. I was like, wow. They actually showed out. It was so amazing.
And during that first set, one of our strongest things about our team is our hitting. And because we have the size, we have the speed, we have the strength, to hit really well. And if that's not on, that's your points. You're not scoring. So having a lot of missed hitting errors in the beginning really hit us back.
And I think that how we came back so much, I think it set the tone for the rest of the game, because after that, I think we were down by 12 at one point, and then we just went on and we started winning, and then from that point on, I think till the end of the game, we were just ready to go.
Yeah, because we got ahead.
Yeah.
What was the change? I mean, what was the catalyst for you guys to kind of get back in that groove and tie it up and then win that first set?
We're getting passes to get into offense so we can swing at everything, and our hitting errors went down, and our kill and our attempts got higher.
We also had so much intensity. We started out pretty nervous and not excited, and then after that we decided that we were going to start being intense and get excited about the points, and from that point on
We calmed ourselves
But-
down.
yeah.
and started
It
passing.
helps. It helps so much if you help your team and talk to them and get them hyper and everything, because it gets everybody going. And once one person does it, everyone follows, and it just gets a great game.
Yeah, the second, one of the first times that you guys, not only did you have to come out to Central's court, but you also swept them, all 3 sets for this championship. It didn't go to 5. You've got to be very, very proud of that.
Yeah.
and it wasn't, besides the first game was close, but the rest of them
Pretty good.
were pretty good, and
Except the
that
last
really
one, the
felt
last
good. That really felt good. Yeah.
Kind of talk to me about your teammates and how you guys have worked together this year to kind of create this really good volleyball team that you got going on.
I think that one thing that really helped us was we've been around longer than a lot of girls would actually even be near varsity. So all of us were either sitting in the ditch or even playing our freshman years. So we've seen what has gone on. We know what's happening. So the experience that we have as a group, and that there's actually 5 of us. There's only 4 here that have that experience. You only need one more person on the court.
We were ready.
Yeah.
I think we keep everyone up. If you get down, the rest of the team gets down. So it's you keep everyone up.
We're really good about
much
just
better game.
encouraging.
Yeah.
If one person is just struggling, instead of
That's
just
our
being
goal.
mean, we just
Yeah.
always are picking each other up, and
Yeah.
I think that is one of the biggest things to do as a team.
Yeah.
What was your favorite part about tonight? Favorite part of the game?
We fought back. How hard we fought
Yes.
back.
Yeah.
We were
That
like,
was
oh crap,
exciting.
we need to get our heads back in the game and
Yeah.
start playing. And
Yeah.
we did. It was just so much
I
fun.
mean, it's
sure.
kind of rare to come up that much,
Yeah.
and we it really is, and
It was so
we
much
did.
fun.
Yeah, it's
To come out that
exciting.
much.
When did it click for you guys? Okay, this is it. We're district champions.
set.
Second set.
5 points in the second set.
Yeah.
Honestly, pretty early.
All right, so district champions already had a pretty good run this season. You had 13 games straight, or 13 wins straight, and then now this district championship. What's next?
Regions. We are so ready.
we were ready.
We wanted to play tonight, but
Yeah, I just said, Grant was like, so what do we do now? And I was like, I want them to load up the bus and come play us right now.
Yeah.
So,
Honestly, this was a game that we looked past. All we had been looking at was regions.
Yeah.
So this was just another thing to check off the list before we even got there.
Well, obviously, those seniors talked about what's next. 11th region. They said they met their goal to get the district championship. Now it's moving on next.
Yeah, they've never won an 11th region tournament game. They've come close several times here in the past couple of years, but so that's the next goal for those young ladies, is to try to win that in advance. And like I said, they should host a game on Monday night down in Berea against a yet to be determined opponent. Just going through the stats from that final game there, of course, the dynamic duo there, Sarah Mitchell and Alyssa Evans. Sarah, 33 digs, 15 kills. Alyssa, 16 digs, 9 kills, 2 aces. And then Kayla Atkins with 25 aces and 9 digs. And Central Haven Combs with 5 kills, 3 blocks, and a dig. Vesper Meadows, 8 assists and 5 digs. And Michaela Morin with 5 kills, 12 digs, and 2 aces. So Central is 7-27 on the season, but they do get to move on to the 11th region tournament, and they have had some success there in recent years. So they will be on the road somewhere Monday night against someone.
We
Wish
don't
we
know
could be
yet.
more specific, but they won't have the draw until Saturday morning. So for now, we know that Southern will be at home, Central will be on the road on Monday. But moving on from volleyball, we go back to
Football.
high school football. Yeah, it's
Friday Night
that,
Lights.
that time of the year. We had all 3 teams in action over the weekend, all 3 on the road. And unfortunately, only one of them was nearby. The other 2 were very far away. But we had only one team win, unfortunately, Madison Southern, with that kind of high-scoring affair there, that 63-40
That was a
game
wild game.
63-40 win over West Jessamine and Nicholsville. Featured tons of offense, tons of turnovers,
Yes.
all kinds of craziness. But the good news is the Indians of the Eagles, they end up winning it. They moved to 5-4 on the season, 3-1 in the district, and that will guarantee them a home game in the first round of the playoffs in 2 weeks. I don't know against who yet, how that'll all work out as well, but They are off this week, but kind of recap that game for us. It was crazy.
It was crazy. Like you said, a lot of turnovers. It started with a turnover for the Eagles. They fumbled the opening kickoff, and West Jessamine immediately took advantage. They were ready to go, scored quickly. They didn't get the extra point, so it was 6-0. But then the Eagles kind of got their act together a little bit and was able to start this kind of scoring run. But then West Jessamine came, coming back on them.
Yeah.
So it kind of put the fear in them. But gosh, so much offense. The running game for the Eagles really kind of took off, and they were able to kind of hold West Jessamine away, especially at the end. It started with a fumble, and it ended with a fumble. So the Eagles fumbled in the beginning of the game, and then West Jessamine fumbled away. Tyler Boots was able to run that in for a touchdown and get the final kind of nod at the end of the game for the Eagles.
Yeah, the Colts were winless on the season, but they put up a fight. Just lots of offense. Like we go down the list here, A.J. Jones, 217 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns. Cameron Hulberg, a couple of rushing touchdowns. Tobias Storm, threw for 1, ran for one. And then the record-breaking performance from, we don't often talk about kickers. But
I know, Baylor doing so good.
Yeah, but Baylor Willis 9 for 9 on extra points, so that was a school record. You hit all 9 of them. And for the second straight game, Jackson Chambers. Yeah, two interceptions for the second straight game, so making a big impact on the defense there. They do have the week off, and then we'll finish up with Boyle County the week after that before they head into the Class 5A playoffs. Our other 2 local teams, unfortunately, did not fare as well on the road. Berea ran out to a 14-0 lead over Eminence. Looked pretty good, and then even had a 21-14 lead at the half. But Eminence was able to crawl back and get a 28-21 win up in Henry County on Friday night. That unfortunately drops Berea to 6-2 and 0-2 in the district, which means they will not have a home playoff game in the first round. They will play Frankfort on Friday night, and that will determine the positioning, whether or not they have to go back to Eminence again, or whether they play Kentucky Country Day on the road in the first round of the playoffs. So that kind of comes into there. But right off the bat, I mean, Timmy Thompson had a 70-yard TD catch, and then when Jalen and Jared, the Whitaker brothers, and it was 14-0. And,
right.
And then Eminence stormed back to make it 14-14, and then right before the half, Jaden Cunningham had a 15-yard touchdown run. So they had a 7-point lead at the half, and just couldn't hold it. Eminence is a good team. And like we said before, that's a really tough district.
Aaron Stepp said it just kind of wasn't their night. They were doing really well, and then just luck ran out.
Yeah, it's a tough district. With even Frankfort's a really good team too. So have to get back on track and get ready for that one this Friday. They finished out with 2 straight home games. They'll have Frankfort, and then they'll have Jellicoe next week after that. So, and Central, they kind of got behind early over at GRC, and they put up a heck of a fight, but GRC ends up winning at 42-34, and just like Berea, they fall to 0-2 in the district, and they will not host a first round playoff game. They are at home this week against Bryan Station, and that will once again determine the playoff seeding. They could very well go back over to GRC for the first round, or they may have to go back up to Oldham County for the first round as well. But got down pretty big in that game and kept coming back. They got back to within 1 possession 3 times in the second half. Just never could quite get over the hump. Cannon Center's probably had his best game as a junior this year. 4 touchdowns, 3 for 3, ran for 1. Zach Hulberg had 2 touchdown catches. Ashton Hulberg had a touchdown catch. Chris Ollinger returned an interception for a touchdown, and Deshaun Gowdy had 11 tackles to lead the defense. So a spirited effort. They just seem to come so close, and hopefully they'll get that turned around. I know we'll have a couple of those kids in here in a minute, and then Coach Centers to talk about that. But on to better news, I guess. EKU had a week off and went on the road last week to take on Murray State, and looked like they were in complete control. Up 34-10, had a 24-point lead, and Murray State ends up scoring the last 17 points of that game to get back within a touchdown, and then actually had the ball first and goal there at the end, and luckily a Frank Sumter interception ended the game there late, but Colonel's able to hold on for a 34-27 win over the longtime rival Racers out there. That's a huge win for them. That moves them into second place in the league. They're now at a 2-1 and a 3-way tie for second. Martin is 4-0, the only undefeated team in the league. And but that's just that was holding my breath watching the end there. And Frank Sumter came up with an amazing play in the right corner of the end zone, went way up in the air, up over the top of the receiver to pick that one out of the air. But Alonzo Booth had a couple of touchdown runs. Parker McKinney threw for 2 touchdowns, one to Jerome Gross and one to Alex Cabrera. Sam Hayward had two field goals, and they had 3 interceptions there. Frank Sumter, Dawson Fitzpatrick, and it's hard to believe with all the things that Aaron Patrick has accomplished during his career at EKU. The senior linebacker had never had an interception, but he came up with one in the second half and almost returned it for a touchdown. He got it down, turned it, I think, 39 yards down to about the 10-yard line. So we talked to the guys on Monday, and they said they've given him a little grief for not being able to take that one to the house a little bit.
Sometimes you can't.
But a huge win for those guys, and they're back on the road this week against Eastern Illinois, a team that is 0-8. But Mark Elder said on Monday at the press conference that maybe the best 0-8 team in the country. A lot of those wins have been very close. They have a lot of common opponents. They played Indiana State and actually played them to a better score than Eastern did against them. So a lot of similarities there. But another big game. They've got the way the league is very jumbled up right now, and so every week is very important. And like I said, UT Martin at 4-0, but there's a big battle there for all the other spots. And Jacksonville State's lost again last week, and they're 2-2. So the team that's won the last 5 OVC championships is sitting there kind of in the middle of the pack right now, and so it's kind of anybody's for the taking. So, and of course, that was Saturday, and some big breaking news came out of Eastern on Friday night. Prior to that game, as I'm sure the team had probably already arrived in Murray the night before, but we got word late Friday night that
during the high school football games.
Yes, that Stephen Lockmiller, the director of athletics over there, was no longer in that position. We did not get the release until Monday when it said he resigned, effective Friday, but we had heard it before that, and we talked to Stephen on Saturday morning. I talked to Stephen on Saturday morning, and a lot of that conversation I can't obviously share with you all, but regardless of what happened, he is no longer the athletic director at Eastern. He was there for about 4 years, and he was moving on. He told me they're gonna stay here in town. His kids go to Model. He didn't plan on moving. He planned on staying here, and so he told me, I'm a colonel. I'm gonna stay around here, be part of the community, and so we wish him well. I know Stephen pretty well. He's a good dude.
They already have an interim athletic director.
Yeah, and we found out on Saturday morning. We found out that Mark Sandy had agreed to come back to be the interim athletic director. He was here for 10 years, from 05 to 050, for 2015, before going to Ball State. He had retired and had moved back to Virginia, and so they pretty quickly found someone to replace Lockmiller on an interim basis. I know Mark had been in town a couple weeks ago for homecoming, so I don't know if there was any talk of that before that or whatever, but he obviously had been around, and he's still around the program quite a bit, so he was very willing to jump right back in and take back over. But like I said, we got word of that Friday night. We confirmed it pretty quickly Friday night after they had removed Stephen Lockmiller's bio off the EKU website, so that was obviously we knew he's no longer with the school when they removed his bio off the site. And then Saturday morning we confirmed through several sources that Mark Sandy was coming back. So it's kind of happened very quickly, and kind of crazy situation, but I guess those things happen. Yeah. So, but that's kind of the week that was, and we'll move on forward this week with we'll have region volleyball on Monday moving forward, and we'll have high school football, and then we have the cross country regionals this weekend coming up as well, and so we're kind of wrapping up all the fall sports. And I guess one point I did want to make is we did find out, it was announced on Tuesday that Maddie Jo Neely was named first team All-State for the Kentucky Golf Coaches Association. We knew that anyway. It's all done on points.
Right.
And she had the fourth most points among all the girls in the state, and it's the top 10.
But it's official now.
Yes. The top 10 kids get to be first team selections, and she actually last year she actually tied for 10th last year. Well, because of some kind of a weird.
Barely made it.
Yeah, well, she didn't make it last year. She was tied for 10th, but they only took one person as the 10th, so she kind of by technicality got robbed of being a first team. But she had been second team the last 2 years, first team this year. So obviously we've had Maddie on the show a couple times.
She's a repeat guest.
Yes, so we want to say congratulations to her, and of course she will be signing very soon with Eastern, so she'll be around. So. But we've got a couple of guests coming in. We got Madison Central coach Mark Centers and a couple of his seniors, William Jacobs and Ashton Hulberg. And we'll be right back to talk to those guys.
The Richmond Register Sports Show is brought to you by Nuevo Vallarta, a neighborhood restaurant with indoor and patio seating, a family-friendly environment, and quality, authentic Mexican food at reasonable prices. Nuevo Vallarta.
All right, welcome back. We are here with Madison Central football coach Mark Centers, or as I like to call him, Larry Centers.
Right.
It's an inside joke we've had for years. Many years ago, I wrote an article and I screwed up and I called you Larry Centers. So all these years later, that's still a running joke with us.
That was when the fullback was playing for the Arizona Cardinals, and I guess it was just you've been watching NFL and just glued into your mind. But yeah, I called that guy my cousin Larry for years.
That was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago.
Well, we're glad to have you here. You guys are going to wrap up district play this weekend against Bryan Station.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you guys are 1-7, 0-2 in the district. But I want to say that I'm just really impressed, especially after Friday night with the, you haven't gotten a lot of breaks. You guys have obviously only won the one game, but your kids keep fighting, and I'm really impressed. Friday night, you guys got down early again, but this group of kids has got a lot of fight in them. And the season's not over yet. I mean, I know it's 1-7 doesn't look too good, but it's a long way to go.
Well, and it's a testament to the kids, it really is, and our assistant coaches, and hopefully it's a testament a little bit to the culture that we built over the last several years. Our kids are play really hard, and those typically are those consolatory remarks that opposing coaches are making to you after they've beat you, and those are things that as a coach, you appreciate the sentiment, but it kind of sticks in your craw a little bit. But I'm so proud of our kids in terms of what you said. That they continue to come to work every day. We've had really good practices. I was talking with a couple of my other coaches, and we were talking in the staff room and things about. We're not practicing like a team with the record that we have, and the kids are still working hard. They're still getting better. We're learning. We're growing. We're getting better, and the process of getting better has not come in leaps and bounds per se. It's been gradual. It's been slow. It's almost been a grinding process in a way. And there's a lot of factors involved. Like I said, certainly there have been some things, some breaks that haven't went our way, but there's also been some things that we did to hurt ourselves and the growing and maturing process as a team. The schedule has been very, very competitive this year as well. Not that the schedule wasn't competitive in years past, because we've tried to always play a pretty good schedule. But with the teams that on this new 2-year cycle, picking up a really good Northern Kentucky team like Dixie, and Anderson County has had a great year this year in terms of that. They've been a little bit up and down, Jekyll and Hyde a little bit, because they beat Henderson County, who was number 7 in 6A at the time. And then dropped one to Bourbon County kind of inexplicably. So, I've talked to Coach Peach a couple times this year too, and coaching is a really unique thing. Many years ago, a long time ago, really, I was reading an article, one of the previews to a game. I think it was Southern and Rockcastle was playing, and Tom Larkey had made the comment that he must be crazy for putting his livelihood and his happiness in the hands of a bunch of middle teenager, 14, 15-year-old kids, and there's a lot of unique adventures that come along with coaching, the high school level, and there's a lot of life things that happen for kids during that time frame, and a lot of growing up and maturing, and on the field and off. But like I say, really proud of our kids, proud of our guys for coming to work every day and growing and learning, and we feel like that we have a lot, a very bright future, a lot to look forward to. Closing out this year, we want to close out this year as strong as we possibly can, and certainly rolling into next year, as far as getting the off-season program going, and really looking forward to seeing the growth of the program. But like I say, we can finish strong. We've got a great opportunity. If we can get a win on senior night against Bryan Station, that'd give us the 3rd place game, and it would give us another opportunity to go up and play GRC again. I feel like our kids would really like to have that opportunity to get a chance to go up there and play them again, close out the year at Southwestern, and then obviously opening the playoffs with a very familiar foe because of the way that the playoffs are aligned this year. So, we're hoping that we can continue to push forward and see some good progress and see a win or two.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you graduated 26 kids from that basically arguably the best team in school history, and obviously leaves a lot of big gaps. But I mean, like I said, the 7 losses, 4 of them have been by 2 possessions or less. So I mean, it's 1-7 looks bad on paper, but I think you guys obviously are a lot better team than that.
It does, and again, the matchups and scheduling and different things like that. A couple of those games we had early in the year, you kind of like to have that one back, and just playing a little bit better at times. And truthfully, very candidly, we've had. We haven't put together a full 48 minutes in all 3 phases of the game yet. We've some nights we've played better offensively than others. Some nights we've played better defensively than others. Our special teams has been pretty consistent, but certainly we've had a couple of things that have happened there that have cost us. The kickoff return at Anderson County, or the kickoff return and then the botched punt thing where they scored the play after. That hurt us. Bad snap here and there, and those things hurt us. And the perception of a season, we know that we could easily be, 5-4, 4-5 at least, and if a couple bounces go our way, but there is a lot of perception there to that. But at the same time, the record is what it is, and I am very proud of our kids and proud of our coaches and our program for not dwelling on the record. And it'd be very easy at this point in the year to dwell on we've only got 1 win, let's pack it in and go, and our kids haven't done that at all. And there's, like we tell them, there's still time on the clock, let's play. There's still games on the schedule, let's play and let's prepare and let's get better.
Yeah, I mean, the way the high school football is set up in Kentucky, really, when you're in a 4-team district, you're going to make the playoffs. Right. I mean, obviously, it really, I don't want to say the regular season doesn't matter, because obviously the 3 district games determine your positioning. But obviously, you're going to get there, and when you get there, anything can happen. Like, so you could potentially play GRC again, who you only lost to by 7 points last week. So that's
absolutely. One year years ago at Garrett County, we went in as a 4 seed, and we're playing against a very talented Breathitt team that ended up, and we nearly pulled that upset. There've been several 4 seed upsets going, and then really the first few years at Garrett, we made a living as a 3 seed. We going in and beating a 2 seed in the playoffs and getting to advance. So it really the finishing strong would be a very good reward for our guys. It would be a great reward for our seniors for sticking through. It would be a very good reward for our underclassmen as they've grown to see some progress and see that tangible progress in terms of getting the win. Those bus rides home always feel a whole lot better, and everything feels a lot better. So our focus is squarely on trying our best to get a win against Bryan Station on senior night, and we just take it one step at a time from there.
Yeah, I mean, Station only has 2 wins on the year, but in years past, you've had difficulty with those guys, and thank goodness there's not a young man named Jalen Burbage anymore, because that guy for the last 4 years just killed you guys. So luckily he's graduated and gone. Yeah, we were very happy to see Jalen move on to college, and it looks like he's doing a great job there as well. There's a lot of familiarity between our staffs with Coach Parks and now Coach Riley up there running their offense, and they've got Tony McCombs coaching linebackers, and obviously he was with us, and so there's a lot of familiarity between the programs, and like I say, one of the things that I think, when you look around, going back to when we played Lafayette and playing Bryan Station, and seeing Tate's Creek in person. Of course, we'll have them in the bowl game to open up next year. There are a lot of the really good football players in Lexington have ended up at Douglas. But seeing how athletic and how many really good athletes and good players that Lafayette and Bryan Station and those teams still have, there's a lot of talented football players in Lexington, and when you think about how spread out it is with the publics, and then you got Catholic and Christian and now Sayre. There's a lot of options for them to go, but Coach Parks and his club, they're always going to play hard too. That's one thing you got to respect about them. Every time they step on the field, they're going to play hard. They got us the last game of the season last year. Of course, Burbage looked to be a man on a mission on his senior night, and
I'd like to see some of our seniors kind of step up and have that same mentality and mission this year in terms of not being denied on their senior night. And they're like us. They're young, very young in spots, similar to us. It should be a good matchup. I think it's a great opportunity for us.
Yeah. I don't know if people. I was kind of surprised years ago when I first met you when you were on Kenny's staff that you were a Southern grad.
Right.
And I got to know you over the years, but it's always been kind of ironic to me that you were actually a Southern grad, and the people at Central embraced you, and then of course when you end up getting the head coaching job there, I thought, wow, they've got a Southern guy as the head coach at Central.
Yeah, I would say that I'm probably not the person who was supposed to have this job, but the good Lord blessed me and our family in being able to have the opportunity to come back after a great stint at Garrett County, and we. I told a lot of people this over the course of the years. There's really only one place that I would have left Garrett County for, and it was Madison Central. And my wife has been the teacher in the county ever since we met, and so it's a great move for our family and being able to get back. But the one thing I learned a long time ago is in coaching, you have to be loyal to where your paycheck's coming from. You have to be loyal to the people who hire you, because there's going to be times, and I've applied for a lot of jobs over the course of the years, and I believe God's hand has been in it the whole way, and guiding and directing where we've ended up and what opportunities came and what opportunities went. But at the end of the day, it's about trying to have a great impact on kids and trying to make sure that we are growing young men and good football players. I mean, there's no question about it. You got to win enough games to be able to keep the job if you want to continue to impact kids where you're at. But it's all part of a bigger process, because 98 or 9% of these kids are not going to play anymore football after high school. So it's far more important that they're good young men, good students. They grow into whether they go to college or into the business world or whatever. So many of our guys have went on to be very, very successful over the years, even going back to when I was an assistant coach for Coach Turner and Coach Raines, and prior to that, in my stint, working for Coach Taylor, and then prior to that, working at Berea. So many of those guys have went on over the years and been successful and started successful businesses on their own, or graduated from college and went off or in the military or whatever. And when they come back and they're good husbands and they're good fathers and they're great community members, we hopefully have done a good job with our little part of that growing process.
Yeah, and I know that's a big part of this to you. You're a very spiritual guy. You're very involved in your church, and you don't. I know you don't push that on kids either. You're not a preacher. You're not. Right. But it is that you do incorporate that into what you do and with your teachings and your life lessons and that type of thing. And you're like we've talked about this before. You're not a religious, kind of pushy, over the top religious guy. But that's a big part of, like what you're saying, developing kids and young men. Not
a Bible thumper per se, but certainly I'm. When Drew hired me, that's a conversation that we had. When Brandon and of course Brandon and I knew each other pretty well from working together and teaching together, and certainly he was instrumental in getting Drew to talk to me, and when Drew hired me, that was one of the conversations that we had. I said, look, man, I'm not going to hide who I am. We're going to do things a certain way, and we're going to do our best to do everything that we can the right way. We're going to try our best to hire men to be on our staff that our school and our community can be proud of. We're going to try our best to conduct ourselves in a way that our school and community can be proud of, and we're going to try to grow and impact young men as best we can. And again, I'm very thankful, and I take very seriously the position, because I know the impact that my coaches had on me. I know the impact that other coaches have had on young men. And I was extremely blessed. I mean, I came from a fantastic home of a hard-working father and mother, and parents who had overcome their own adversities to be able to be super successful in life, and taught me and my brother, how to work and how to be super successful in life, or at least as successful as we can be. All the, I was very fortunate of that. And even coming from a great home background, my coaches had a great impact on me. There are times today that I will still call Glenn Green and ask him for advice, and he was my high school coach, and I value that relationship and treasure that, what has grown into a friendship. you know, so with those pieces being out there, you know, I know what an impact that it was on me. And so over the course of years, obviously we've had situations where kids haven't had the most ideal home life, and they've had to go through their own set of circumstances. And like I say, I've seen other people. I've seen coaches like Teddy Taylor who have just an unspeakable impact on kids and how they impact kids and motivate them and help them along the way. And you know, there's a whole lot more to it than football.
Yeah, shout out to Teddy Taylor. He's the man of the Central, the legend as they call him over there.
He absolutely
we love Teddy.
He absolutely is.
Well, I guess lastly, I mean, obviously talking about you know, you're in the unique situation where you're getting to coach your son. Obviously, Cannon is the quarterback, and it's his first year. He's a junior. It's his first year as a starting varsity quarterback. He's had his ups and downs, obviously, but he's coming off a 4-touchdown game. Right. He threw for 3 last week and ran for 1 as well. So, talking about coaching your son and kind of I guess it's special and it's also challenging, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, like anyone who has done it, that, you know, I've talked to a bunch of my colleagues who have done it or are doing it, and it's its own unique set of circumstances, and, you know, always trying to do what's right for the program while being able to still have that dad piece in there. It's a balance for sure. You know, like virtually all of the coaches' sons that have played for their fathers over the years, no matter what level it is, from Little League all the way up to, you know, the guys who have coached their kids in college. You know, you're probably a lot harder on your son than you are other folks, and, you know, it's sometimes hard to turn that off, and, you know, when to be coach and when to be dad, and sometimes the ride home ends up being a little of both, and, you know, it's its own unique set of circumstances, but you know, it's very you know, special time for me to be able to have the opportunity. My middle child, my younger son Caleb, is a freshman, so you know, he's coming up as well, and of course he's a center. He's on the offensive line, so you know, not as much pressure perhaps on that position as there are on others, but you know, proud of Cannon. That's how he's grown, and, you know, he's growing as a player. He's growing as a young man, and like I say, you know, he's had some ups and downs, but, you know, overall his season has been pretty consistent with a lot of our other first year starters, and as he continues to grow and everybody grows around him, it's you know, we've got a lot of really talented guys that are really good, you know, football players, and they fit their role well, and you know, it's all part of the bigger puzzle for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, the Indians are at home this Friday night against Bryan Station. It is senior night, and that'll wrap up the district portion of the schedule. And then next week they will go down to Southwestern to take on the Warriors down there. And then the opening round of the playoffs will be either at Oldham or at GRC. And we'll see how it goes from there. Well, they switched it up now, and the first 2 rounds are back in the district this year, so you have to play the same teams you played before. So
district champion be crowned after the second round, and then straight on to the region finals, and that's where the RPI thing kicks in. So it'll be really interesting to see how all that works.
Seems like it changes every year.
Yeah.
We appreciate you coming in. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
And like I said, if you're going to be in Richmond Friday night, it's senior night. Come out and watch the Indians take on Bryan Station. Should be a good matchup. Two good teams hungry for a win. So we'll be right back with William Jacobs and Ashton Hulberg.
The Richmond Register Sports Show is brought to you by Nuevo Vallarta, a neighborhood restaurant with indoor and patio seating, a family-friendly environment, and quality, authentic Mexican food at reasonable prices. Nuevo Vallarta.
All right, welcome back. We are here with Madison Central football seniors Ashton Hulberg and William Jacobs. Thank you guys for being here.
Thanks for having us. Thanks for having us, for sure.
We were just talking to Coach a minute ago, and I was telling him that I know you guys have had a rough season. You had some breaks go against you, but I'm really impressed that you guys can just continue to fight. You continue to battle. There's no quit in this team. So, and you guys just talk about where you guys feel like you are right now, and what the kind of the attitude and the feeling around this team is.
Right now, the attitude's more just focused on like never giving up and just always playing hard every whistle. That's the thing that we've always prided ourselves on. It's just hard hustle and determination through adversity.
Yeah, biggest thing is just said biggest thing. What'd you say again? I'm sorry.
Well, it's about you never giving up, and you guys are still fighting hard, and you guys,
Yeah, so just keeping positive through every game. Like, we've had some games where we've lost and we've drug our heads down, and then like in practice that next week, coach picks us up, and we just try our best. And there's a lot of mistakes that we could fix, but we do have younger guys on our team, so it sucks having a losing record our senior season. Like, I am a really competitive guy. I hate losing, but just seeing our younger guys develop, it's pretty exciting to see what they'll do next year. So it's just basically finish out this season as strong as we can. Let's get as far as we can, but I think the younger guys, they're really getting the experience they need to really succeed next season. So
it just feels better knowing that you left the guys with the opportunity to be great after you're gone.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's not over. You are 1-7.
Yeah,
I went to the
for sure
district, but you definitely will make the playoffs, and then potentially a first round matchup with the team that you just played last week, because you played one possession game against. So you guys still have a lot to play for, and I mean, kind of, what's the feeling around going into the Bryan Station game here?
Yeah, I mean, every game we've played, we've had a shot to win, and truly, we should have won. I mean, the teams we played have played great, but I mean, not all of them, to be honest. Sorry, but the teams we played, we've had the opportunity to take the lead on every team, and whether it's been a bad call by the ref or a mistake that we've made, it's just kind of dragged us down. So the main focus going into the Bryan Station game is just to really minimize our mistakes that we've been making. And if we get a bad call by the refs, we've had one every single game. I've never experienced that in a season before, and I played football since I was 4 years old. So, but if we get a bad call, just keeping our heads up, that's a big thing with our guys. It's really easy to get negative when a bad call goes against you. So just staying positive and just keeping that positivity the whole game against Bryan Station. And I think I definitely think we'll come out with the win this Friday.
Yeah. Same mentality this week as every other week. Just continue to fight through adversity when it happens, and just I think the GRC game is still in the back of everybody's minds. I think everybody just wants another shot at those guys.
Yeah, man, it could very well happen. So I think a lot of people realize. I know they look at the 1-7 record, and you guys are both seniors, but that team last year with the 26 seniors, even you upperclassmen didn't really get to play a lot. So even you guys being seniors didn't really have a lot of varsity experience, and of course you're bringing in a lot of younger guys too. So just losing that many kids off of a team, I mean, it's a lot of spots to fill.
Yeah, for sure, and it can definitely be frustrating. But when you have that big senior class like that, I mean, there's really not much you can do with your younger guys except for like last year I played all the special teams, but again, that was really all I really saw. Was second string behind Ethan, but it's Ethan. I didn't really play much behind him, and then going from that to being a team captain, starting on the offense, and then Will, he just got over his injuries, and he's finally being able to play a season. So it's just big things. We're just now really getting into it, and it's unfortunate the losses we've had. But again, that doesn't really dictate us being good or bad. It's just a lot of mistakes that we've made. But if you truly watch our film, we're not a bad team. It's just little things that really take us down. But we're all we're seniors, but we're still young. We're new to this type of experience. We're not used to getting this much playing time, being out on the field this much, just because we had that big senior class last year and all those roles. So.
Yeah, Ashton said that perfectly. I was going to ask you about you've had 2 major knee injuries, so tell us a little bit about how those happened and the recovery and all that you've had to go through.
Oh, for my freshman year, we had a practice scrimmage against the JV squad, and I caught a pass and turned around, and my knee got stuck, and then the rest of my body had twisted. I took a hit to the helmet. So that was my first time tearing my ACL. And my second time was my sophomore year. I was working out with the basketball team during 7th period. So we have a class dedicated to our basketball team where we weight and work out. And there's a freak accident just coming down off a jump ball, just knee gave out, heard a pop, and got MRI the next day or so, said it was torn again. So just really two back-to-back years of just going through lots of therapy and stuff. But I know I got good guys around me, Ashton, Avery, Sorry, all the guys, just positivity all the time, just telling me keep pushing, and I'm back to where I am now.
Yeah, and you've gotten to play full football season this year. You haven't missed a game, right? You've been on.
Yeah.
There's an athlete right here. It's an athlete stuck around.
You're going to play basketball this year
Yeah,
too, right?
Thankfully, was able to play a full season basketball last year too. So.
Okay.
Stuck around through all the injuries, and now he's finally getting to play. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the. Obviously, you're following in the footsteps of your brother, who was a pretty good running back there. Kind of what's Gavin up to these days?
He's doing his own thing. He's starting to mess around with film, and he just got an apartment with a lot of creative guys up in Lexington. They're really awesome people, and he's just enjoying his time up there. He also he owns his own company, Free Fire Media, and he's working with special needs down in Richmond now. He comes and does that on the weekend, so it's pretty cool.
And you're into film too, aren't you?
Yeah, I love film. That definitely one of the things that I want to do later on in my life. Just try to get into that somehow. It's always something I've been passionate about since I was little. That and making money somehow. I used to sell silly bands on the playground. I used to sell like Game Boy games back in elementary school. So I was just getting into like when I go to college, I really want to like try to study marketing, business, maybe major in that, and then minor in like communications, and somehow dabble into film if I can. I just feel like that'd be a good time.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that sounds like fun. You really kind of become a key piece of this offense. You've both running and passing, or not by passing, but receiving and running, and
yes,
you kind of do a little bit of both. And so, kind of talk about your role in the offense.
Well, like I said, last year I really only played I was second string two back, and I played in practice, but I didn't get much playing time in games. But that little role that I had last year has changed into a captain role on the offense now, and just a captain of the team in general. But I know a lot of the guys look up to me, and it's just that really, gosh, I was going somewhere with that, and I don't know where I was going anymore. But I know a lot of the guys look up to me, and I'm a captain role now, so if I have my head down, then other guys have their head down. If I have my head up, then other guys have their head up. And the same with like Will, and same with like Cannon. I know he's younger, but he's our quarterback, so if he's down, then everybody else's energy will get down, so it's up to us to pick it up. And yeah, I mean, of course, I went from playing slot receiver to like a fullback in a way, but I'm also still a slot receiver. It's pretty weird. I get I get more passes than I think I do carries. But yeah, I'm just trying to make the most out of every opportunity I get. That's really it.
Yeah. Well, I think you only have 2 catches on the year, but I think we can get you a little bit more involved in the offense the last couple of games here. What do you think?
Yeah, I hope so. Just trying to play my role, just whatever it is, blocking assignment, running a guy off, just creating more opportunities for my guys like Ashton, Zach Hulberg, John, all those guys. Yeah. Just if they have good games, I'm perfectly fine.
Okay. Well, he's going to be making films somewhere. What are your future plans?
Ideally, I want to go study architecture somewhere. Right now, I'm looking at my dream school, Stanford, to go study, so we'll see where that puts me.
I heard you're pretty good academically. If you're going to go to Stanford, you must be pretty smart.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, wish you guys luck. I say the Friday night, senior night at home against Bryan Station, and then they'll be at Southwestern the week after that to finish up the regular season, and then first round playoff game either at GRC or Oldham County, so it won't be a home first round playoff game, but hopefully you guys we'll get you back home here again later on, and finish up the season strong and everything. So appreciate you guys being on.
Yeah, thanks for having us, for sure.
And we'll give one quick shout out to my buddy Ricky Elkins, that comes and take pictures with you sometimes. He's in the hospital right now, is doing some surgery, so he wanted me to give him a shout out.
He takes the pictures of us?
Yeah.
Thank you, Ricky. We appreciate that. I've seen a lot of them. I definitely appreciate them. I think they're awesome.
Yeah. Well, appreciate you guys coming in. Make it lucky the rest of the way. And thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next week.
The Richmond Register Sports Show is brought to you by Nuevo Vallarta, a neighborhood restaurant with indoor and patio seating, a family-friendly environment, and quality, authentic Mexican food at reasonable prices. Nuevo Vallarta.
Almost 2 decades. That's right, I've covered local sports in Madison County for almost 2 decades. The Madison Central Indians, the Madison Southern Eagles, the Model Patriots, the Berea Pirates, the EKU Colonels, and the Berea College Mountaineers. I've covered them all. Football, basketball, baseball, softball, volleyball, track, cheerleading, golf, youth sports, and more. It's all being covered by the Richmond Register. Join us for a brand new weekly sports program. Watch the Richmond Register Sports Show every Thursday at 9 p.m. Be sure to like, share, and follow us on all our social networks and to subscribe to the Richmond Register online or get your own subscription delivered. If it's sports in Madison County, we cover it.